Okay. Now, yeah, this is what the agenda for today. So it's already 9:41. So the basic agenda, we will be discussing about this particular four concept. Before understanding this one, I just randomly throw this particular question around you. What do you meant by object? Yeah, Shruti, what do you feel? Means if I ask you a question that what do you meant by an object?
Um,
Anything, any answer is fine. It's not that right answer or the thing you need to give. So what do you feel when you feel, means when I ask you what do you mean by an object?
it could be a thing or a function or anything.
Okay, cool. So Swati. Swati. Yep.
Sorry, I was muted.
No.
Object can be a container which keeps things, and then we run things from there,
Okay, so you are
like a
saying that's
function
the
as well.
container and the function. Okay.
Yeah,
Yash.
Yeah, even I think it's a material thing which you can see and touch.
Okay, cool. Sorry, what you feel, means what is the answer you're saying?
Which you can see and I mean, which you can see and
uh,
touch. I mean, in colloquial language.
okay, okay, cool. Saidib. Saidib, you're on mute.
Yes, sorry. Yeah, object is like it's an like entity which we can uh, I mean which we can state it.
Okay, okay, fine. So now already you guys have been given the answer, so I don't think I need to give much more answers around this one, but let me try. See, object is nothing but which you can see and which you can touch, which is a real-time entity. The most important thing is it's a real-time entity. That's it, boss. I can, whatever I can see, whatever I can touch, that is called an object. Okay, in front of you I'm seeing I'm seeing a good cup of coffee with a I mean the cup of coffee is an object. The cup is an object, and I'm seeing a laptop in front of me, and I'm seeing a Airtel dongle in front of me, and I'm seeing a monitor, and I'm seeing a mouse, keyboard, headset, and Bluetooth headset, and then I do have a writing pad, and then I do have a plug. Whatever you are able to see and whatever you are able to touch, and which is a real-time entity, then this is called an object. Now, so whatever the objects, now you have been seeing the particular object, right? So for that particular object, you'll be having few things. Means for an example, I'm seeing my mobile over here. So this is LG dual screen. So means what are the what are the properties of this one? So the properties are nothing but like the basic characteristics of this one. So now I have a flip mode for this one, and it do have 128 GB of RAM, and then he do have uh, uh, the weight of 600 grams of weight, and then you do have 6.4 inches of the screen. See, you are trying to describe the characteristics or the properties of that particular object. See, first of all, you need to understand what is an object. So object is nothing but it's an real-time entity, and which we can see and which we can touch. So which is called as an object. And now for an object, we should have the properties. Now the properties are nothing but, so the characteristics of that particular object. So now it is a 6.4 inch screen, or if it is a 128 GB of RAM. So these are the characters which we are trying to define for that particular mobile. And now we do have another thing called behavior. So now the mobile phone, what means, what the things we will be trying to do with the mobile phone? I can talk, I can listen music, I can watch movies, I can means if I wanted to send emails or whatever. So these are all the actions which it can perform by the mobile. So these are the behaviors. Means for an object, they'll be having two things. One is characteristics, one is behavior. So behavior is nothing but it can behave, means it can perform some action, like we can talk and we can listen music or whatever the actions it was trying to perform from the mobile phone, so that we are trying to do it. Okay, so means for an object we do have a characteristics, and for an object we do have behavior. And characteristics are nothing but we are giving the properties of that particular object, and then behavior is nothing but it performs some actions. Whatever the actions it was performing, we will be taking it. I'll give you some more examples, and then I'll come around robin. So this is how usually I do, because by this we can understand. So this might be the same exercise which I have been done for our previous batch also. Now for an example, we take any hero. So we'll take usually we will take anyone. So one guy, Prabhas. Okay, so that guy, he is 6.3 inches of height. So consider Prabhas is an object. Now the characteristics of that particular object is, so he is 6.3 inches height, and he is stout, he is a well built toned body. So and then we can say that he is fair. So now these are the characteristics which we are trying to tell for him. And what is the behavior of him? So he acts well, he dances well, he fights well. So the action which the object is going to perform, so then that is called as a behavior of the particular object. Okay, so now uh, these are called the behaviors, and these are called characteristics and properties. Now let's see. I'll just give it now for an example. If I pass the ball to Jivita, so Jivita, the first thing is you take any particular object. Okay, for that particular object you can tell me characteristics, and then the behavior of that particular object. You can take anything.
Okay. I will take car as an example of an object.
Excellent.
So, yeah, if I take a car will have a different model and different color, um, and what I can say. Yeah, that's what. So behavior wise, engine should be good and car should run smooth. Yeah, that's what I can say.
Excellent. Small correction, Jita. So now the color of the car, year of the car, number of wheels, steering.
Yeah.
So these are all the characteristics of the car. Now, when it comes to the behavior, the car runs. We will fill the fuel for the car. So these are the actions which it can be performed for that particular object. So that's how we can define. Excellent. Excellent, Jita. Nice example. Yeah, Arif.
Yeah, hi. I can take an example of phone,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like characters of a phone will have a big screen. We have a color like black and something gold, and behavior, we can operate with phone, we can call someone, we can snap a photo.
Excellent. So the character, so you need to define it. This is mobile phone. Mobile phone have 6.4 inches of the screen, and then it do have in black in color or black in or gold color. And the behaviors are, I'm trying to call, means calling is a functionality, means an action. So then this is an behavior, and next action is taking a snapshot. So this is another action. So this is called for a smartphone. So these are the characteristics and these are the behavior. There are many, but still we have taken only few. Excellent, Arif. Now going back to Joshi. Joshi, can you take any example? Joshi, you there?
I'm there. I'm trying to unmute it. Like, sorry.
No problem.
Like there are two this open, like screens were open. Okay, I want to take an example of a smartwatch.
Okay,
Uh,
cool.
and a smartwatch is having a dial of 3 inches, and that is a definition of it, and it is in black color, and it is having orange or multiple color lights which I can set. So that is the definition of the watch. And the behavior of the watch is I can do a call, I can message, and it shows me a time, and I can set multiple modes if I can do exercise. So this is what I can give an example.
Excellent, excellent. Right. Thanks, Josie. The right examples which you have been given. And yeah, so Soumya, so can you try?
Yeah, I would go with the TV. So when it comes to the characteristic, the TV, the screen size, the weight of the TV, and the yeah, and the color, all this comes into the characteristics. And when it comes to the behavior, I can play the videos, I can pause them, I can turn on the TV, I can set an you know I can
Excellent.
play video games, etc. Yeah.
Super, Soumya. So these are the right examples. So when you take a TV, the size of the screen and the size of the weight of that particular TV, and then whatever the actions, the playing the videos or pausing the videos. So these are the actions which we can perform. So hope now by this time itself, everyone has been taken one example, and then they will be prepared what to give the for the properties, and then what we need to give it for the behavior. That's it. So now, if you understand it very clearly, when we talk about the behavior, so behaviors are nothing but the methods, and when it comes to the variables, these are the characteristics. See how simple it is to understand. So the basic thing about this is, so now whenever if you take the methods is nothing but if you perform some action on an object, then this is called a method. If you are giving some characteristics, means it's a variable. Means what do you mean by a variable? The name itself, it was saying that varies. It varies. For an example, you take a container. In that particular container, first time you put sugar, second time you put salt, and third time you'll put the dal. But you, what that exact the container is doing, so always it stores whatever you wanted to keep it there, and after that it will flush it off. So the same way, now you're saying that screen size. Now for an example, I do have a TV. Now the TV size is 32 inches, and that's in my gym room. And I do have 65 inches TV in my living hall. And I do have a projector which is having a 350 inches TV in my video hall. So now the screen size is varying, but the parameter of that one is remains same. The characteristics of that remains same. So always you should remember, methods are nothing but, if someone asks you what your method means, simple. If I perform some action, boss, then that is called a method. This is a behavior of an object. Now variable. Variable is nothing, means a variable is nothing but it's a characteristics or a property of an object. Means for an object we will be having some values, and it varies whenever it was required. So this is called a variables. So methods and variables, and methods may also call as functions. So because functions, if you ask the definition of a function, the people say it's a group of steps, repeated steps. Even the same thing, we will perform the same thing and in the methods. That's a hairline difference between a method and then function. So methods are nothing but if you're performing some action, then this is called a method. If you're performing some action, means there should be a group of steps, right? Then that is called also function. And that function should be reusable. Means that method which you have been written, so that method should be reusable whenever it required for us. Then that is called a function and a method. So hope you got it right. Now what is an object? So for an object, means the object is a real-time entity which we can touch and feel and we can see. And for an object we will be having two basic components. One is behavior and characteristics. Behavior is nothing but if you perform some action on that particular object, then that is called the behavior, which is called as methods. And for other component of this object is we will be having the basic properties and the characteristics of this particular object, which we will call it as variables. So is it hard to understand object, method, variables? Any questions around this? Any questions? Okay, so I'm taking silence as yes. Let's go. Now we understand what is an object. We understand what is a method. We understand what is a variable. Now we need to understand what is a class. Okay, let's jump into our good olden days. So Kavya, now just unmute yourself. I'll ask you a simple question. You have your homework notes, you have your classwork notes, you have your geometry box, you have your pencils, you have your rubber, and you have your all your pens, and you have your pad, you have all your books. How you will carry to your school? Will you take all those things on your hands, or will you use something to take carry of all these things? Kavya, you there? Hello, you guys are able to? Yes. Yeah, Kavya.
So I'll just use a bag instead of carrying it in hand so that I can keep all the things.
Excellent, excellent. See, now that's what. So now you have, there is an object. For an object, you have more number of methods, more number of variables, and all these things are there. You want it to carry separately? We should have something to carry all these things. That is nothing but a class. How simple it is. See now, see, we do have objects, and means we do have multiple objects, we do have multiple methods, and we do have multiple variables, and all these things we do have it. So when you have all this, so how you will carry, and how you wanted to share this one to someone else, or if you wanted to access them, so how you will wanted to access. So these all things will be bounded into a class. So this is a definition of a class. So people used to say that the class is nothing but it's a blueprint. So we will have many definitions in the industry, but it's up to us. I mean, the basic simple, what exactly a class means. The class means nothing but it will have the complete information. I mean, it bounds the complete informations of multiple objects and object methods and variables, and then it will carry all this. So this is what a class is. So did we understand what do you meant by an object, what do you meant by a class, and what do you meant by a method, and what do you meant by a variable? Because if you don't understand this terminologies, you can't play with the oops. If you don't understand the oops, you can't understand any other things in Java. For accessing a single variable, or you are accessing a single method from one class to another class, if you don't understand this basic, you believe me, you will not, you can't even do any program and learn in this particular direction. Definitely you'll love and then you'll enjoy to play with this Java. Just bear with me. Okay, so any questions, guys? Any questions? Okay, now let's start. I'll share the screen. Means already I'm sharing the screen, right? Oh, I'm not yet shared the screen.
You
Okay.
have shared it.
You have shared it.
Okay. Okay. Now, everyone, just quickly open your Eclipse. Now we will we will play around in the Eclipse itself. Okay. Coming back here, I just wanted to close few things. Okay, so yesterday we created one project, right? So the dummy project. So let's go back to that same project. Now coming back here, now we understand. Now we created a class. So now this is what my class. Guys, here we need to remember a few quick terminologies here. Always the class name and the file name should be same. If you wanted to change the class name, so for an example, now the first class super. So when I have given it, see now what it happened, it was asking me, boss, either rename the file name, okay, file name to the first class super, or rename the type to the first class. So now I'll rename to the class name. See, I renamed it by name. By default the file name also had been renamed. So you have to be so cautious. And Java is dynamically typed and case sensitive. Okay, dynamically typed, remember this word. In future I'll use this one. I'll explain about that. When it comes to the data types, I'll talk about that dynamically typed. What do you mean by dynamically typed? And if you see here, this one, public's class, if you see, everything is case sensitive. You shouldn't give the capital letters or anything. It will not work for you. Okay, so never be that, because usually when I was typing for the first time, when I was learning the Java, I used to have the capital letter first and then I used to type. Then always there would be a syntactical errors for me. So now first you need to understand that. So you shouldn't do that. So it's a case sensitive. All things are small. Now let's create a now for an example, what we said, we do have we said that we will be having variables, okay, and we need to create methods. These are the exercises which we have been learned. So now yesterday itself we have been created the classes, right? And for commenting control, what is this slash? Beside the shift we have the slash, right? Forward slash or backward slash, what you the slash. So this is, you need to click it. Okay, control slash if you have been clicked on that, so then that's a shortcut key for commenting any particular line. There are group commenting, the group commenting I'll let you know. So it's shift control slash, and if it is a single line commenting, control slash. Okay, you need to quickly note it down, guys. So these shortcuts are really very important in handy when you're writing the program. Now, so we wanted to do 3 important things over here in today's session. So today we have discussed about means object, and we have been discussed about variable method. So these are the 3 things which we have been discussed for today. Now, apart from this one, we have been discussed about class also, how to create that particular class. So anyone have the doubt in creation of a class? Whenever you created a class, the extension of the class is .java. Okay, so whenever you create a class in Java, so the extension of that one would be .class. And where this particular project is created, just give a right click, go to the property file and the properties, and here you'll have the location. Here we have the resources, location, and directly you can go to that one. So now here is the project which we have been created. Now, if you see here, so here we do have in the same source src folder. Under the src folder com.demo. Here you'll have the class Java file. And if you see here, this is what the bin folder com.demo. First, hey, .class file is there. Who can answer me this? Why we have .class file here? What is the purpose of having the .class? We do have the .java, but still suddenly why we get the .class? Swati?
I'm not sure what, because
Okay.
this is class.
Fine. .class file. Okay. So Saideep?
No, Chris. I was.
Okay. Okay. So I'll make it except for the
Shall I
old.
try?
Yes. Please go ahead. Please go ahead, Joshi.
I think if it is dot class, then only it get executed.
Who converts the .class file?
Compiler. JVM.
Excellent. JVM will convert into the .class file. Anyone means any other answers, guys? Any other answers? We discussed this or not?
It contains the bytecode, which is used during running the
Sorry?
Java compiler will do that.
Yes. Guys, what happened? So what happened? Yesterday we were discussing, yesterday or day before yesterday we are discussing about the same thing, right? Why you have this particular confusion? Who converts the bytecode? Means who converts .java file into .class file?
Java compiler, correct.
Java compiler will convert the .java file into the .class file. Why it will convert into the .class file? What is the purpose of this one? Only this particular means .class file will have the bytecode, and then bytecode will be sent it to the JVM. So JVM can take only the input of .class file. Directly JVM can't take the .java file, and it consumes the .class file and generates the low level language. Didn't we discuss this one? Yes, no?
Yes.
Yes.
See guys, you shouldn't forget this particular picture in your life, because if you don't understand this particular picture, you can't work with the Java. See, because this is a basic thing, so you should know how the things works. It's very simple. Dot Java means whatever the source file is there, it comes to the compiler. Compiler takes that, it generates the out, means it takes like you can remember that like a sugar cane. So you are giving a sugar cane into the machine. The machine will squeeze it and it gives you the juice. So the juice is this. You're giving a sugar canes and it gives you the glass of sugarcane juice. And then for that juice you are adding some more some more garlic or whatever the things, the lemon and all the things you wanted to add it, and then you'll get the output which you can drink. So that's how means you need to understand that compiler will take the .java file and then it will gives you the bytecode. If you see the means the folder structure which I have been explained you now in dummy mummy you do have source and bin. Whatever the files are compiled, okay, compiled and built, so those files will be available in the bin folder. So that's where the class file is there. And if you see here in the SRC source, this is the original Java file. .java files are there. That's a basic difference between in dummy mummy what is a source and what is a bin. And these are the project setting files. So not really required to understand what these really were there, but these are the basic things. What is a project name and all the things will be available in the project file. And usually we'll not know, but at least we should know all compiled and build files will be available in the bin, and all these source we will have the original Java files which we will have it. And so the project details, basic whatever the project details you wanted to have it, so those things we will be having in the project details, and whatever the things were there in the path. So that's where you remember what we will keep, means the Java path and everything will set, right? So by default it will point to, see now the source, if you see here, this is the class path it was giving for this particular project. So now the SRC source, this is a means in the same project you'll have all, means if you created anything it will go here. And the output means when you compile and build this one, so where it has to go into the bin folder. So this is common for any project which you have been created over here. So that's how the class paths will be maintained. And in settings folder we'll have a lot of things, don't get into that one, but still if you wanted to see you can go and see on this one. So these are really by default when you create a project. So these all things would be by default created by the Java itself. Okay, now basic things you need to remember: in source all our SRC source file, whatever the Java files which we created, those things will be available here. In bin all our build and compile files will be there. And you should remember this diagram. So Java file converting into the class and bytecode. There is a difference between the bytecode and the native machine language also. But as of now, if I explain those things, it will get confused. But definitely we do have a lot of diagrams on that one. So bytecode versus the machine code. So I'll just share it if you require more information on that. But as of now, at least you need to understand once we converted, this would be generated and this would be sent it. So based upon this only, it will start doing the execution. Okay, come back to our execution, means come back to our discussion now. So we created our first class. We means the class name should be matching, always the class name will match to the file name. And then this is called, means under a class, keep it in mind, under the class we'll have group of methods. And if you wanted to execute any program, main method is a starting point, means that's a igniter. Now for an example, if I wanted to write this sys out here, means out of this particular braces of a method, so will it work? Let's see. You know, in the starting of my days, I used to write this line and then I'll not understand why this statement I written it over here, but it was not executing. What is the problem? Any answers?
Because it's outside of the main method. After the bracket, close bracket after we write, and that's why.
See, the basic problem is always whatever you write, so that should be in the curly braces of any particular method, not only the main method. So now for an example, I wanted to write, so public void, I'll explain what is meant by public, what do you meant by void, and method 1. And always remember, method name should start with the small letters. It should follow the Hungarian notation. So those are the standards. Now, if you see here, I can write in this way. So we do have the standard to declare a method. So now method, these are called as access specifiers. And the access specifiers is nothing but we do have our CHR solution company, right? So anyone can go into your database room or data servers room? No. So we'll have separate accesses for that. Means if it's a visitor or if he's an employee, so they will be having different accesses will be granted for you. So one of the topic is access specifier for us. We do have 4 access specifiers in Java. One is public, default, private, and protected. So these are the 4 access specifiers which we do have it. So in the further class we will be discussing about it. And next one, when it comes to the void, in this particular void, means we are not we are not returning anything. So for an example, you in a petrol bunk, I given my card, and then immediately he came back and saying that sir, this transaction is void. This is a void transaction. What do you mean by void transaction? Means it returned nothing. It didn't do any transaction. So now we are saying that this method is not returning me any values. So we need to understand that what are the different type of methods. There are different type of methods also available in Java. So I'll talk about that one. So from today we will give some assessments for you people to go back, do some homework, and come back for tomorrow's session. So that we will try to do. So there we'll discuss about this different type of methods also. Okay, now this is a method name. So now for the method name, so always it should be starting with a small letter. And if you wanted to say that, I can write it in such a way that method 1. So you can write it in this way. So this is called Hungarian notation or the camel notation. So it is nothing but like it's a hump. If you see here, this hump. So starting with the small letter and then having the capital letters like this. So you can write the method name in this particular pattern. Okay, this is how you can try to do that one also. Else, if you wanted to do it in a different way, so then what else we can do is we can give the underscore for defining the method name. So this is how you can try to do this particular method names. So how to create a method means, now if you see here, the scope of the statements should be this curly braces. So the starting of this method from here, end of this method is still here. So we'll have every boundaries, right? So for example, for every country, this is what the boundary. For every means street, or every state, city. So this is what the boundaries we are defining. The same way for this particular method one, this is what the boundary. So now if you wanted to create for another method,
Krish,
so now
sorry
yeah.
to interrupt. Actually, we lost your audio for 2 minutes. So we
Oh,
missed that
really?
method. Yeah, method underscore 1. So can you explain it again?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay. So now this is what the method, right? So, okay. So we are just trying to we wanted to define the basic method. So now as part of this one, so we discussed what is an object, what is a variable, what is a method. Now how to define the method in the class is what we are trying to discuss over here. Now when we are trying to discuss over here, the first thing is the public accessifiers. So now means we will be having a different accessifiers will be available. So which is like a public, protected, default. These are the different access specifiers we use in Java. So we will be having this, and anyways that's a different topic we will discuss together. And next one is void. So void is nothing but what the thing we are returning back to the method. Means when you call this method, what I'll return you back. So that is what this will talk about. But don't worry, we will talk about this void later part. And this is what the method name. So the method name should start with the small letter, and then it should be having a capital letter. So this is what I told you about the Hungarian notation. It starts with the small, and then it goes for a hump, and then it will go for it. So this is what the camel notation which is called for. Okay, so this is the method name declaration. And the boundary of this one, so always we will be having the boundaries. So the boundary starts from this part to this part. So when you open the curly braces and when you end the curly braces, the scope of this particular method lies over here. So this is what I explained. And next one, I just try to copy this particular methods, right? So now what, if you see here, we shouldn't have the same method names. So the method one we have been defined, and always we shouldn't have the same method name again. So now what did we need to do? For an example, you see the message, what it was saying that duplicate methods are there. So immediately what I need to do, so I need to change this one to method 2, and I'll change this one to method 3, and I'll change this one for method 4. So this is how I can create the method names over here. So this is how I defined it, and I'll write it like I am in method 1. So this I have been written, and this I have to be written here, and this I have to be written here, and this I'll be written here, and I'll mention this one as 2, and I'll mention here as 3, and I mention here as 4. Okay, so this is how I've defined 4 methods over here. Understood? Any doubts in this one, defining a method? So method should, there is a standard in declaring the method. The complete method have a particular signature. So it should have the access specifiers and what is the return type of that method, and then the method name. And it should be always for carry further with the open close braces. So then it will understand that this is a method. Now we do have open braces and the closed braces. Whatever the things happen in this scope, so this is the scope of this particular method. Sorry.
Sorry.
Okay. Okay. Now, if you see here, main is also a method, and main method will have the boundaries of this. Keep it in mind. Always, main method is a method. Okay. In a class, I have, as I told you, I do have a group of. In a class, I do have a group of methods declared here. That's it. So I have done one job. Now, if I wanted to execute these particular methods, how I should do it? Okay, I'll come to that particular thing later. Now, I wanted to define some more variables now. Okay, so I defined methods, and I'm going to define the variables now. So how I need to define the variables? So here, before defining the variables, so I should mention what is that particular data type. For example, I wanted to define, I'll take the same example as a car. Now, I wanted to define the car, right? Model of the car means it's a year, it's a number. So what I need to do is I need to type int. Okay, so int model equal to 2019, and always every statement in Java should be end with the semicolon. Means it's a mandatory. You should end that particular statement with the semicolon. Now I need to have another one called color. Is means that's a string, right? The color is a string. str. Okay, color. Color equal to black. So it's a string, right? So always it should be in double quotes. Don't worry, guys. We didn't came to this still, but still, I just wanted to show you how to define a method and how to define a particular variables, whatever we have been discussed about it. Now, this is what the color. So this is the model, and this is what the color. Now we have okay, for as of now we will take the 2 examples, and then I'll do one thing. So for our interest, so I'll create from a new class here. The class name I'll be creating as a car class, because that would be very easier for us to do it. So I taken a car class now. Into this particular car class, now I'll try to create 2 variables, which is this particular 2 variables. I'll have that 2 variables int model, and then the car color equal to black. Now what else we have been discussed about it? Okay, I'm not trying to define the scope of a main method. I wanted to define at a class level. See, at a class level, I'm defining my variables. Now I need to define my methods also, right? So now what are the methods I wanted to define? In interest of time, I'm just trying to copy, but you guys, when you're trying to do it, just try to do that one so that you can have the practice. So now here you have, and you can write that running, okay, or you can say that car moving. So car moving, this one method I was trying to take it up. And another method what I'll filling fuel. Okay, so this is what another method. See, now you shouldn't give the spaces. So filling fuel. So now here I'll write as car is moving, and here I'll be writing as we are filling fuel for the car. Okay, so this is how we have been written the both the statements. Now these are, now as per our definition, or as per our means the discussion. So for a particular object, for a particular class, we have defined the variables, which is the properties or the characters, and we have been defined the methods. Now are we clear till this particular point, guys? Any questions on this? Any questions? Well, I told you, right? So when we are saying this one, we will feel that's very simple and doing it. But when you start to do this all, you will definitely hit with the hard rocks. But don't worry, just try it out. You'll do it. But as of now, so these are the things which we have been discussed: creation of a class, creation of an the particular variables, and creation of this particular methods. Now we wanted to create an object. Okay, how to create an object? We are going to actually, this is a huge topic, means it can't complete in within the span of 7 minutes or 8 minutes. But I'll just, as of now, I'll write that particular piece of code. We will discuss about this one in detail tomorrow. Okay, now I have written it. If I wanted to execute this one, will it execute and then give me the output? Let's see. So I'll just try to run this one. What is output we'll be getting for this one? If you see here, anything executed, see the date time 10 to 2023. It executed, it didn't give nothing. Once again, I'll execute and see. Boss, I written methods, I written these variables. Why it was not accessing, means why it was not printing me? Because nothing is there in the main method. Okay, so how I should call this into the main method? Okay, now I'll try. So car obj, okay, this statement, and obj equal to new car. Okay, don't worry, I'll explain these two. Means this is what the creation of an object. Okay, so this is what the creation of an object. Okay, now after creating this particular object, obj dot,